Hey, what's up? How's everybody doing? So today we are going to be getting into one of the most anticipated movies for so many people all around the world. Today we're going to be talking Suicide Squad. Now, honest impressions walking out of this. I saw it Thursday night. I wasn't able to put up a review yesterday, but I'm glad that I was able to sit on it. Now, I walked away happy with this movie. There was a lot of things that I really loved, but there were also things that I walked out of here pretty disappointed in. Now, while there may not have been many things that I was disappointed in, the things that they were pretty big ones. So I'm going to elaborate on that, but first we're going to be talking about the good things. So this is our first movie in the DC Extended Universe that is really the post-Death of Superman world. What I liked is that this opened up so many possibilities. We even got a Midway City, we got Batman villains, we got Flash villains, and Amanda Waller, and the view from the government opposed what we were getting in Man of Steel and Dawn of Justice with Swanwick, and the more suit type of people. So now we're delving really deeper into some of the mythology of DC, and those were some of the things that I really loved to see. Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, absolutely amazing. I said it, she was going to be a badass bitch, and that she was. You could almost argue that she was truly the villain of the film, but Viola Davis, her Amanda Waller, that is a character I want to see more of going forward with these movies. And aside from her, I thought that this movie was just chock full of a ton of great characters. Everyone in the squad I pretty much loved, with the exception of probably just one, and I'll get into that. But everybody was pretty great in their role. Will Smith as Deadshot, Floyd Lawton. Man, that role was made for him and he didn't even know it. This has got to be my favorite thing that I've seen Will Smith do since like Agent J from the first Men in Black. This is my favorite role he's ever done. He was hilarious, and I think he was like the sole savior of this movie. Not to say that everything else without him was weak, because I loved all that, but he just elevated it he brought it up to a whole nother level. He was the one who really had all the jokes, and he was killing it. I mean, everybody was dying in the theater. I walked out of there absolutely loving him, and his character probably had the absolute best backstory. Although things didn't hit me emotionally like I think they should have, I think he was a character you could sympathize most with, and I'm glad that they were able to do that for him. And then we also have Harley Quinn, who is what I guess you would say the second lead of the movie. Now, I'll say this, that I love Margot Robbie, and I like the character of Harley Quinn. I don't think she's the greatest thing ever. I think she's a little overrated, and I still walked out of there feeling that way. I think she played her well. I think the character was great in the movie. But just to me, I've always felt like Harley Quinn is annoying, and that she was kind of made to be annoying, in that, you know, she's meant to be a thorn in Batman's side. And like I said, she was making me laugh, and I liked the character, but I just don't feel like I can sit through a whole Harley Quinn movie, especially after this. It's not that there was anything wrong with her performance. I just don't think she's a strong enough character to stand alone in a movie, but seeing her interact with all these other members of the squad and just her little outlook, it's so bubbly and fun. I really liked her in this movie, and there's parts of her that I didn't like that we're going to be getting into in the negatives. And surprisingly for me, what characters that I was hoping that were done justice, but I wasn't expecting to like them this much. Joel Kinnaman's Rick Flag and El Diablo, they were both amazing. I actually really, really liked Rick Flag. Probably second most after Deadshot. He was a really cool character. I thought Joel played him really fun. And Diablo, I think, is probably going to be the sympathy, the character that everyone can really sympathize in this movie. And he was really cool. And everyone had some interesting backstories. And, everyone in the squad that wasn't an upfront main character, because then we have people like Killer Croc, Katana, and Captain Boomerang, who they had their moments. Everyone got their couple little moments to shine, whether it's in actions or their one-liners, but we didn't really dive really deep into everyone's backstory, and that's fine, and I hope we get to see that later on. And then there's Cara Delevingne's Enchantress. She's one where I'm not too sure how I feel about it, because I really enjoyed Cara playing June Moon, the normal alter ego of that character, and there were things that I really liked about Enchantress that I don't think were her fault, because I liked her performance, but I think the way that this character was used in the movie was just rather weak. And I think they could have done a lot more with her to make her a far more interesting character. But her performance as the character was pretty decent. And on top of that, I really did enjoy most of the action in this movie, and I thought the music was pretty great. There were times when it maybe didn't really fit in, just a few, but for the most part, I really enjoyed the soundtrack, and it was really cool seeing them fit with the characters so well. So now I want to dive into a couple of the negative things. Like I said, there were several that were just really disappointing, and we're going to get into that. One of them being Joker and Harley Quinn. Now, it's not so much that I disliked Jared Leto's performance as the Joker. There were moments where I absolutely loved him, and there were other moments that just seemed so questionable. And I don't know that it's his performance, but the way that this character was utilized in the movie was so scarce. I mean, he just was hardly there. That it's so hard to really judge off of his performance, because I liked a lot of things that I saw. And I think that this is going to be the biggest con for me. This was what I thought was the weakest part of the movie that I did not like. And this was more of how it was presented, not what it was. And that is going to be Joker and Harley's like origin story. When they're talking about Harley Quinn and they're kind of showing her history with the Joker. I felt like that was the weakest, and it fell so flat for me. I get it did its job and it told us about her, but there was no tension. In their scenes. We've seen the still images of Joker and Harley in Arkham Asylum, and if you don't know, Harley Quinn was his therapist in Arkham, and she falls in love with him. And it's not that they did it wrong. I liked her origin and what it was, but I think it was presented so poorly. In several scenes with the Joker, I felt were presented pretty poorly. One of them being the scene of them in the club, and with him kind of torturing a guy, I can't wait to show you my toys. That wasn't in the movie. And that scene of him talking to a guy, which would be like a torture scene, and the origin with Harley Quinn, those were such wasted moments to have such memorable, dark, like impactful scenes, and they weren't. There was no tension in them, and I felt like that's what they really needed. This movie tried so hard to get away from the darker moments of these characters, and that kills me, because I wanted to see like a darker character study of these people, and they kind of strayed away from that like whenever they could. And that's something that kind of killed me, because these are supposed to be tragic characters, and I wanted to see what made them so tragic and their tragedies. And that was kind of brushed over, especially with Harley Quinn. I really felt it in Deadshot, and other characters were just kind of more fun, but something like Joker and Harley Quinn, they should be these magnetic characters, and they didn't give them, I think, their time to shine on screen, especially Jared Leto's Joker. Now, I do want to see more of him, he was totally underutilized in the film, and that's just pretty unfortunate, because so many people were looking forward to him, and there was just simply not enough Joker. And I thought he played him very, very interesting. He's very crazy. He's definitely more on the psychopath vibe. So different from Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, or Cesar Romero for that. A combination of so many different things, and a lot of inspiration from different elements in the comic books, that we really got this vibe that he was the clown prince of crime, and that Joker and Harley Quinn were the king and king of the Gotham underworld, and I liked that. They just didn't give them their time to shine, and that's just killed me. And as most of you know, we did get some of Ben Affleck's Batman in the movie, and I feel very similar about him like I did with the Joker, in that he was kind of underutilized. It's not that I wanted more of him, it's just the little bits of it that we got. They were scenes that should have had tension, and they should have been a little more darker, and they should have been drawn out and allowed the scenes to breathe, and they didn't. They were just kind of really brief, and then were gone, and they were just kind of there. And characters like Batman and the Joker, they should have had their highlights in this movie. Granted, I didn't want to see them get 20-30 minutes of screen time. By no means, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying the scenes featuring them could have been done a lot better. Now, this is just a minor nitpick, that this movie was almost predictable to a fault. I say that almost because it was such a fun movie. It was entertaining. I was laughing all throughout it. I had a ton of fun watching it. But if you watch my prediction video that I did last week, I pretty much got it. I nailed, I think, pretty much all the things that I said, and I could kind of get the vibe with where they were going. But it was still such an enjoyable, fun movie that it wasn't that big of a deal. It was just a more simple, straightforward tale compared to Dawn of Justice. And another thing was the villains were fairly simple, a little generic. I think they also could have been done a little bit differently. We get an explanation of them kind of in the beginning of the movie that should have been used in real time instead of a flashback. The use of these villains does kind of open up a magical door for the DC universe, so at least in that aspect it's interesting, but I was let down a tad bit with the villains, although seeing them on screen visually and the things they did sometimes were just really creepy, but it was really cool. Now, if I really had to sum up Suicide Squad, I think that I could say that the characters of this film are so strong that they're so much better than the story itself. Like I said, the story is very simple, but it's not a game changer. It's nothing super special, but I do like the idea of the government recruiting these metahumans and these criminals to take the fall and to do these Spec Ops Black missions that they probably couldn't convince other people to do, that they can't get government officials to do. So I like that aspect, and I want to continue to see more of the Suicide Squad, but the chemistry among these characters and their camaraderie really showed on screen. And everybody had their moments of really, really great humor and just little bits and glimpses into their past that were so interesting about these characters that you want to see more of them. So ultimately, I'm going to give Suicide Squad a 7.8 out of 10. Like I said, this isn't the greatest movie I've ever seen, and I had some problems with several things, but overall, it's a good time at the theater and you're going to have a lot of fun. I, for one, am going to see it again later tonight, and I can't wait to get it on Blu-ray. So have you seen Suicide Squad? What did you think of it? Comment down below. I want to know your thoughts. How did you feel about Joker and Harley? And especially about the overall, story of this movie. What did you think of that? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to subscribe for more movie news, movie reviews, trailer, breakdowns, all that great stuff. I'll see you on the next video.